All right, good morning again, everyone, and welcome to the new definition of symbiosis. Symbiosis, did I say? For that is how we see the productivity and collaboration suite from Zoho. 4 unique tools and tons of intuitive features. We're going to tell you a story to bring all those nifty features together in one package.
Whenever there is a story, there are people, there are emotions and crises, and of course there are climactic solutions. So, 4 products, 2 companies, 1 story.
So I'm Kuppu.
And I am Raj.
So we should get started?
Just before we get started, I want to bring your attention to something important here. Anytime in this story, if you like what you see and hear, if you see something on the corner of the screen like this, you might want to note those down. We're going to cover those in much more detail during the presentations the rest of the day. And these curved arrows, we'll be using those to draw your attention to something specific on the screen.
Right, okay. So this is a story in 4 scenes. We're going to scene 1 now. And I'm going to introduce to you a Nemix, a fitness studio chain. And it has a workforce of 150 people, and as you can see, they are located across the United States. And they're headquartered at Iron County, Missouri, And introducing to you the founders of this Nemix are Annie and Mick, and you know why it got the name. Annie and Mick will make a Nemix. A Nemix now uses Zoho Connect to make its workplace more social, and that's how the current logo looks like now. You might want to take a careful look at that because a lot of a story is going to revolve around that logo.
Humdrum is a medium-sized ad agency in Boring, Oregon. Founded by Humphrey and Drummond, this end-to-end brand services agency has 50 employees. They are big fans of Zoho's PNC suite and use all 4 of Zoho's productivity and collaboration tools. And yeah, that is their company's logo.
Okay, we've got the introductions done. You're familiar with the characters now and the 2 companies that will be involved in the story. And now we get started. This Nemix Fitness Studio, it's actually a great place to come and work out with your trainer. So they have fitness convenience studios all across the U.S., they provide a whole lot of services. You just have to name it, and they've got it right from massage therapy to martial art trainings and yoga and whatnot.
In fact, they're so confident of their approach to fitness that they often announce a 9-day challenge. See yourself transformed in 9 days or 100% money back, they claim.
So you want to find out if it's real? Nemix believes in employee empowerment and transparency in decision-making. Zoho Connect makes this really easy for them.
In whatever way you lay out your organizational structure, I don't know what kind of structure your organization itself is, but in whatever way you lay it out, in fact, information flow cannot be controlled. It should not be controlled for an agile organization. Formal and informal groups will always tend to form in a cross-functional manner. Departments have their own groups, like we see here. In the case of Nemix, there are vertical groups, departments. But so do people across departments united by a special interest. Those are special interests, you see. Watching movies, going on marathons.
So let's take a look at some of our story's main companies. Nemix Connect activity, for instance. So this is the martial arts trainers group. And as you can see, somebody has posted a post on the 5 best martial arts for fat loss and fitness. Ooh, that's interesting. So you see a lot of conversation going around on, the participants, people belonging to the group, what they feel after watching or reading up this article that's been posted. And you see that there is a busy conversation afoot around it.
And this is their Foster City franchise group. Someone has posted a request about some mayor wanting a fitness training engaged, and somebody has suggested a video as a response, an inspirational video to take ideas from.
So in here, you see on the company wall a central beehive of official company activity across all branches in California. We had seen earlier that they have franchises situated across the United States. So we see a weekly bulletin post by the CEO and announcements about the next franchise being open in downtown San Jose is getting a lot of mixed reviews. So if you take a look at it, some people are for it, some people are against it. So there's a lot of transparency in decision making.
One of the most active groups in their Connect intranet is the marketing group, populated by all the marketing brains from across all the franchises. They discuss trends and share statistics, ideas for branding and proposals for offers and discounts.
So let's do one thing now. Why don't we join them? Their CEO, in fact, Annie, is looking at the membership trends in all the franchises over the past quarter. Okay? So this is a special custom app that they have built and integrated into their Zoho Connect intranet. And this lets them view at a glance a graph of monthly memberships over the past 5 months. As you can see, it starts at Jan, and you can see that there is a certain pattern that she's been observing. So she's been taking a look at things with the San Francisco membership trends.
She looks at how Foster City is doing. The Portland graph tells the same story, as does the one in Los Angeles.
Okay, so not a good sign, right, for Annie. So the memberships are dwindling, and they're uniformly dwindling and frighteningly dwindling. So she makes a post about it in the marketing group, asking them what they think could be the reason, or now what could be done to stop all this.
And thoughts start pouring in, some critical, some encouraging, most of them pointing out how dated they looked from the viewpoint of the millennial generation. See, for example, we see, the kids don't relate to us. They're just not into our brand of fitness. We need change. I feel we need a new logo for our franchise.
So let's look at the word humdrum. That was the key word that set off the sequence of events. And somebody in Connect had called their logo a bit humdrum. You know, pretty much how we feel before lunch and after lunch.
Mick was reminded of his college mate and friend, Humphrey, who had teamed up with a mutual friend, Drummond, to come up with a surprisingly successful creative agency called Humdrum.
Interesting. So why don't we fight fire with fire? He must have wondered. So he fired off an email to Humphrey. And that brings us to the end of scene 1, where a company finds itself in sliding downhill.
Scene 2. We now hop over to the folks at Humdrum in Boring, Oregon. The head of Animix had just then sent an important mail offering them a new project. And let's see what happens inside Humdrum.
Okay, let's take a sneak peek. So this is the inbox interface of Humdrum's CEO, Humphrey. As you can see, he uses the brand new Zoho Mail. And you also see some of our old faithful friends here, the folder list, and we have the mail list and the previewed email right there. And you also see a lot of new icons here and there on the left edge of the screen, some on the top right-hand corner. And just as you all are enjoying this new visual feast that Zoho Mail is,
Humphrey receives a new email. You see that pop up on top. It's from Mick Johnson, his old friend from Missouri. Email has always been about just 4 things: send, receive, reply, or forward. But wait a minute. This guy, look at what Humphrey is doing. He scrolls down the page and goes to a small window that says, @mention a user or a group.
So the one that you see down here?
He types in the name of 2 of his colleagues at Humdrum with a prefixed @ symbol. Almost like how one does in social networks these days when looking to grab the attention of a particular user, a particular friend.
Okay, so he mentions Brad, his account manager, and Jennifer, his creative lead, and asks them their opinion about this proposal. So Brad reminds Humphrey of the broken relationship with Meg. So you can see Brad's comment there, right? They've had a very interesting past. So Jenny is not really, eager. She's a little iffy about the whole idea. And Humphrey explains his stance on this, and he actually looks for a buy-in from Brad and Jennifer. So he has some really interesting and convincing points there. So he's trying to get his teammates on his side. So Brad agrees and signs up, and Jennifer chimes in. And how does she do that? She does it by hearting Brad's comment.
All this happening inside an email. With the team now on his side, Humphrey now sends a reply to Mick. That is the reply he has drafted. It's about a date, it's about his interest, it's about what he would like to do before getting started, and whether Mick would want some samples to be sent over. Typical pre-sales talk. He's confirming the plan, and as it involves 2 more of his colleagues, he shares the draft with them before hitting send.
Wait, so you're saying he shares the draft of the email with them?
Yes, like so. Just like he had shared the mail that came in from the outside world with his team, he now shares the draft that he is about to send outside world with his team. And good that he did it. See what happens.
So Jennifer immediately points out that she would be away at Zoholics at this time. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for coming. Humphrey postpones the date appropriately and fires the email away. Can he afford missing the most expected reply, though? No. So what does he do? He sets up a filter for all the new incoming emails from Mick of Anamix, and he points them to one specific folder. And what does he do after doing that? He shares it with his partner, Drummond, right? So by doing this, he basically delegates the task to Drummond to act on his behalf for all the emails that's coming from Anamix.
And soon after, a reply does come in from Mick of Anamix. And just as Humphrey feared, he is away from work at that time, but then no worries. As you can see here, this is Drummond's inbox that points to Drummond. But in Drummond's inbox, we see a shared folder here called Anamix, shared by Humphrey. And we see Mick's new mail sitting there, thanks to the delegation done earlier. Drummond dutifully selects the relevant bit of content, the date and time, from the mail, right-clicks it, and creates an event in his calendar right from within the content of his email inbox. And watch this. It gets even better here. He invites 2 of his colleagues to the same event. Presto.
Wait, that's like a lot happening inside email.
Exactly. I was about to remind them that all this is still inside what is called email.
So we're not forwarding emails anymore?
Let's see.
Okay, so now they visit the Anamix studio in Oregon. The meeting hums along as planned, and the project is kicked off using Zoho Projects. On the flight back, Brad, the account manager guy, he's already set up a series of projects and is seen taking notes. He's adding tasks, he's adding milestones for the upcoming project, all from several thousand meters above. So here's a quick peek at the kind of task he has set up for the rebranding effort. So the budgets are set. As you can see, the deadlines are keyed in. And thanks to the mobile app that we have, logging time from anywhere, from a desk or on the move, it's just a breeze.
A workspace is set up in Zoho Docs. And you can see it filling up very fast indeed, with lots of content from various teams. There is this market research team. It's pumping in data, spreadsheets, interview transcripts, survey results. They're surveying the millennial kids. Hey, what do you think is good about, is trendy about a gymnasium or a fitness studio? Presentation decks have started arriving because whenever a final review is done, it goes in as a deck. The visual design group has started churning out rough sketches of reimagined logos. All kinds of reimagined logos for Anamix are coming in. A co-owned document has been created. It's called the rationale note about the original logo, what needs to be changed based on the market analysis. It also describes each logo proposal and the reasoning behind that new design. We think design is all about the eye and how it meets the design that's been proposed. There is a rationale behind every design, even if it is something as simple as the swish of Nike. So the rationale document defends that particular design in this creative agency.
All right, now that we hear a lot of this rationale document, why don't we take a dip into it? So as you can see, each designer has a reason why a particular logo is in a way it is. So you take a look at the screen, try to sink this all in. You see a lot of comments on the right side of the screen. You see various designers chipping in with their comments. And a lot of collaboration and brainstorming is happening right inside this document. So they all co-own the document, and other designers get to weigh in the proposal by others. They also add comments. So there's a lot of collaboration provided by Zoho Writer. So let's take a look at another example of the same situation where a lot of people celebrate teamwork and encourage constructive criticism. At the end, one design wins over the others and makes its way to the final proposal. Okay, that's a lot disappearing. All right, so after all the collaboration, they come to a uniform conclusion that this is how the new logo should look like.
So what made the cut and why? This is the one. Look at the logo, sporting a modern, organic effect. In fact, if you spend time on it, there is a man and there's a woman, and there is the current size they are in and the potential size they can be. You see that? There's a shrinking. Almost resembling the icon for an iPhone app. Look at the typography, how the font thins out from left to right, starting with a thick A and ending with a thin X. How anemic. Compare it with the older one on the left.
Okay, so after all this task of coming up with a new logo, a presentation is prepared for the D-Deck, right? A beautiful deck of slides on Zoho Show, depicting the logo, the typography, and the rationale. The deck, it's shared through the cloud with Annie and Mick of Animix, right? So after they have come up with a new logo, they have to share it with the partners of Animix. And they take a quick preview. So the best part is there's also a video voiceover that accompanies this entire presentation and guides them through it slide by slide. So it did not require a person from Humdrum to fly all the way and explain things step after step, right? So and that brings us to an end of scene 2, where an agency tries to stop this company from sliding down the hill, right? So we're end of scene 2 and 2 more scenes to go.
Scene 3. But for all the effort that the Humdrum team had put in on this project, the team at Animix doesn't seem to really like the concept.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mick is concerned that a lot of time has gone down the drain and he has been given something that isn't qualitatively better than what he had already.
Okay, is that what he feels? So I think he decides to keep his individual opinions aside. And what he does is he posts on the company wall, asking for other members in the organization to find out what they think about this whole idea. And boy, does he get it. And look at the options, the number of options as he's been able to add into that poll. I would kind of read.
One of the most clever options, I would say, is is this their final version? That's
Right.
the best option, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the last one. Let's change the agency, come on. Right? So as you can see, there are votes that start coming in as soon as she posts the vote. And the opinion is clearly tilted away from this new design. Right? A lot of vote is tilted towards them wanting to change the agency itself. Right? Poor Humdrum.
Mick was confused. Should he scrap this project and go somewhere else for his needs? To somebody else? Should he bounce it back to Humphrey and ask for a further iteration? Or should he just perhaps drop the whole idea of this rebranding? The fixer now seems to be in a fix himself. Curtains down on scene 3.
All right. So let's walk into scene 4, the final scene of a story. So as Mick is pondering over his decision, let's take a look at what's happening at Humdrum. It was a Friday, and Friday means one thing at Humdrum. It's an open house day. As is the routine at Humdrum, the weekly open house on Zoho Connect lists the biggest proposals that were submitted that week, and of course, the proposal to Animix gets the limelight, right? That's the talk of the week. So Humphrey posts this on the wall to the entire team, saying the story about how they came up with the logo and all that. So you see comments like, yeah, it sure looks great, but it looks simple. I love it. The old one was just so out of fashion, and all that activity has begun. So he's asking for an opinion there. So the best part is they prefer to send all the appreciation publicly via this common feature right here. There's also a private messenger. You know, we strongly believe in appreciating someone publicly and sending those criticisms privately via messenger. So Zoho Connect allows you to do both.
And that's where we meet Babu, the white knight in Humdrum. He's a creative director without a portfolio, whose only job is to be the third eye on important projects. He romps around, he gives independent opinion and valuable early feedback on new initiatives that happen across the company. Because he was away on assignment in Venice, he wasn't directly involved in this Animix gig. Two things pop out immediately for Babu. Animix is famous for its 9 days or money-back guarantee, remember? And the logo has a 9 in it. It's just begging to be exploited. IEX is also 9. The Roman holiday effect, see?
Right.
He makes an observation about this on the Open House Connect thread, and the number of likes he gets for it indicates what an amazing extra punch it's delivering.
Wow.
Isn't the company famous for its 9-day challenge thing? Am I seeing things, or is that an IX at the end of the name, waiting to be exploited? 85 likes. Hurriedly, Humphrey puts together a revised pitch, a new rationale document, and a new deck that reflects the enhanced logo. You see the enhancement that happens there. Mm-hmm. Something like the Baskin & Robbins 31, with its shiny red Roman 9.
So let's go to the other company meanwhile. What's happening at Animix is just when Mick is staring at the horns of Trilemma, phone rings and it's Humphrey on the line. Right? So I've got something special coming up for you. Go get a computer. Let me do a remote presentation right away. Christ, Humphrey. Right? So what does Mick feel? Annie, Mick's partner in Animix, is actually away from work, flag off a marathon rally. Humphrey didn't want Annie to miss this reveal. So switching to Zoho Showtime, he makes a passion-filled presentation simultaneously to Mick in the boardroom and to Annie in her plane where she's on her way to flag off the marathon. 15 minutes of silent listening later, Mick promises Humphrey to get back ASAP. Right? He says, okay, let me take a look at that.
The delivery has been done. Mm-hmm. Right on time too. Extra man-hours were spent, of course, layering that extra oomph that Mick was looking for. Finally, though, it was a huge stroke of luck combined with out-of-the-box thinking that saved the day. But for Humphrey, the one in the middle, it's not done till the client says it's done. And he waits with bated breath.
So over to Animix now. They are so thrilled with this icing on the cake, the new logo. The colorful and the lively logo, the dwindling, thinning typography, and the coup de grace, the Roman 9, standing out to symbolize their frequent promise, transform in 9 days or your money back. Annie announces a poll from her smartphone on the company's Connect.
She's still on the marathon thing.
Mm-hmm. But does she not know already how the polls will turn out to be? Right?
Yeah. Minutes after the poll was posted, the verdict came in, and she's able to see the verdict also on her smartphone from dozens of employees and the stakeholders across the franchises. Like you can see, 103 votes say, I love it. Exactly what I needed, what we needed. And Mick's own thoughts? He just feels bad that they are going to charge him bundles more just for coloring the last 2 letters of his company's name. He starts writing the post in the company wall, but just before hitting share, he pauses. He realizes that by posting this, he would not be practicing what he preaches. He backspaces and calls Humphrey.
All right, so when Mick's call comes in, carrying the good news and the congratulations, Humphrey isn't able to contain his joy. Look at him. Right? Upside down with joy. The project has overshot its budget, definitely, with all the extra time and the extra man-hours and all that. It's been, beyond the original plan. But there's 100% client satisfaction. Isn't that an amazing feeling? I'm getting goosebumps. Ooh. All right. So all the tasks are closed, the project status is complete, and it's been one hell of an assignment.
Humphrey heads over to the Connect post that triggered the turnaround, where it all started. Mm-hmm. He thanks Babu for having done it again. He's truly a superstar at Humdrum. You did it again, Babu. Keep thinking different. IX in red, that was the clincher. A dozen more likes pour in. A friend gently ribs him. You see him down there, suggesting that there be drinks for everyone. The sun starts to set on another boring evening.
Okay. While in Anemix, the party had just begun.
So Zoho wins the day. End of story.